And I remember going in there, sitting across from this woman doctor, and her saying, "You're too young to have an ulcer or H. pylori, so I'm not going to scope you or give you a test for that."
Okay, fun fact. It's often acquired in childhood.
I walked out of there like, you're a GI doctor?
You may see more signs and symptoms when it's active, and all of a sudden then they go away again, right?
I did the antibiotics and it didn't eradicate it, didn't do anything. This is Keep It Clear, real conversations about skin, acne, and women's health without the overwhelm. Because you deserve answers that actually make sense. Today's episode starts now. What lives in the stomach lining of over 50% of the population and they don't even know it?
Oh, that's H. pylori.
Easy, I know.
That's an easy one. So she said 50% live. I'm like, hello.
Yeah, H. pylori. Now, I can't believe we haven't done an episode on this yet. It's actually one of the most popular blogs that I have. Anytime I talk about it, people love it. And a lot, like I said, a lot of people don't even know they have it. It is a major issue, everybody.
Yeah, we say boo. It's a 2 thumbs down boo.
It is a 2 thumbs down because, again, we look at a lot of GI maps. I would say in the last 6 months alone, we've probably looked at close to 50 GI maps. And a common thread on so many of them for our acne sufferers is H. pylori.
Yeah, we're not saying you have it. we just look at trends because we've had a magnitude of files over the last 6-7 years. We're like, oh my gosh. Like we want, if any scientist out there wants to run some things, like we have ideas.
Yeah, we got lots of ideas for studies we can do because that's exactly what Cris said is like we have looked at thousands and thousands and thousands of client files. So in our clinical experience, we have seen a lot of trends occur. And H. pylori is one of those trends. So let's talk about what H. pylori is, how we pick it up, the damage that it does, and the things that we need to really start considering here. So, number one.
That's a lot of sexy.
But this is a full episode. We're going to try to keep it to 30 minutes. We're going to do our best.
We are.
We're going to do our best. Okay. So, Cris, explain to everybody what H. pylori is and where it loves to hang out if they weren't listening at the top.
So I really like to always explain it. It's a spiral-shaped bacteria that lives in the stomach lining. It's very unique because it survives in acidic environment, like very acidic environments where most organisms, they can't. It adapts. I have it because if you have an autoimmune, guaranteed, you probably have H. pylori. It's just a hand in hand. But I don't want it and I don't love it. And I know potential risks associated with it, but it is really fascinating. It adapts by producing enzymes that neutralize stomach acid locally. What? That's what it knows to do. Remember, I always say that these pathogens, these viruses, they're smart. They're supposed to morph. They're supposed to change. They go and create biofilms, right? They go and they morph. They change. They're all incognito. And they can burrow into protective mucus layer in that of the stomach. So really, it's not always the enemy at first, fair? So we all have like a little bit and it's, dormant. And that really helps our immune system to say, hey, don't forget me. This is what I need you to be, right? So it can actually exist quietly for years. And it only becomes a problem when the internal change shifts. Right? So if that terrain is going to go from what? Any kind of stressor, thought, toxin, trauma, perpetual eating of processed foods, alcohol, whatever it is, pharmaceuticals. These are known facts. This is never us just saying, oh, we don't like this. These are well-publicized and documented facts. So don't worry about that. So that's what it is, right? I'm just going to say, because it can neutralize stomach acid around itself, really is what it does. So it can hide. It's like it's got a go-go gadget and it's just like, and it shoots out its special stuff. And then the stomach acid just kind of goes, I kind of like think of it as like a bubble, right? And if this happens, it's going to block iron and B12 absorption. It's going to erode the stomach lining, right? So we're supposed to have mucus in our stomach lining, and that just dissipates. And then all of a sudden we go, ow, 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 acid reflux, indigestion, GERD, whatever. And then disrupts digestion all the way downstream. So this is why we say, hey, everyone, let's work on digestion. And hey, everyone, that's great. You're on a probiotic. Where is your upper digestive support? Because this sucker will drive inflammation body-wide.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, how do I know if I have H. pylori? What are some symptoms I could be looking out for?
Oh my God, don't guess. Do not go through our systems and be like, Cris and Katie said.
These are just some clues that maybe you could be dealing with it. If you have early fullness and bloating after meals, classic burning, gnawing stomach pain. That's how I knew I had H. pylori. Morning nausea. Do you have acid reflux or heartburn? And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Iron deficiency, fatigue, hair loss, skin issues like acne or rosacea, or mood shifts like anxiety and mood.
Did you say brain fog?
No, I didn't. But yeah, that's in there.
We're going to add that in, right? And some of these feel really intense discomfort, and others, people can walk by and not even know what's happening. Because remember, you know how they always say, well, how come everybody can do this and I can't because I get? Because that's the body is likely more depleted than the body without the symptoms. And sometimes we can be asymptomatic. Some people have a high pain threshold too. Or sometimes in our society, we just deem everything as normal. No, that's normal. You get a little burping, you get some nausea, you know, you're now sensitive to foods. Now you've got some reflux. It builds and it builds and it builds.
Burping.
At my
Did
worst,
we say burping?
Yeah. At my worst, I didn't even know I had it because this is like way back in the day. At my worst, I was sleeping at 3 pillows in the night just to keep the acid reflux down. And it was full on GERD at this point. The way I eradicated it, listen, only work with a specialist, but it was severe. I had to go like more severe.
Yeah, when I was dealing with my worst version of H. pylori, I started getting that gnawing, burning. And every time I ate, I had really severe pain. I remember at one point I was like bent over on the floor, like screaming in pain. It was so horrendous, that gnawing, burning pain. And even with those symptoms, when I went in, my family doctor had sent me for referral to a GI doctor. And I remember going in there, sitting across from this woman doctor, and her saying, "You're too young to have an ulcer or H. pylori, so I'm not going to scope you or give you a test for that." And I was like, what? In the what?
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
Back up. You seriously.
Seriously, you are too young. Oh, and she didn't want to do the scope because it's too dangerous.
Okay, fun fact. It's often acquired in childhood.
Yep. I walked out of there like, you're a GI doctor?
Okay, they're not trained. I get it. But, you know, come on, everyone. Time to wake up, right? Because think about it. Childhood. What are the common pathways? Shared utensils, food, close contact in the households, contaminated water, food sources. Please don't share your drink. That just disgusts me.
Children have no boundaries, though. Like if you don't have kids, let us just fill you in quick. I have little ones, so I'm like in it. They have no boundaries. They like will lick each other's tongues. I swear to God, like they have. I've literally watched my 4-year-old be like, "Can I lick Suri's tongue?" I'm like, "Our dog, absolutely, you cannot." But they're sharing things at school. They're sharing drinks. Like the things that kids do would literally like curl your insides.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, it just builds up their immune system." Yeah, but it also becomes that contraction, right? And this isn't for fear mongering. This isn't anything like this. Listen. You can have H. pylori. It doesn't always mean it's going to be detrimental or it's going to be active. It can go dormant and then it becomes active, right? You may see more signs and symptoms when it's active and all of a sudden then they go away again, right? If you've had a history of an ulcer, please note you're going to probably have to repeat some H. pylori protocols because the body just needs a little bit of love. So like really, again, if we have that lower stomach acid, right? Or even if we're rushed eating, overuse of antacids, right? Heartburn, what do we take? Calcium. Antacids, that's what they are, calcium-based. Because it coats and it neutralizes. Well, calcium neutralizes stomach acid. Now we have low stomach acid. We're into hypochlorhydria. And guess what? H. pylori can live in high acidity and low acidity, so we're foobarred either way. Except now we don't have protein digestion. Oh, then how do you have liver function? How are you calm? Protein is so essential, right? And if we have poor digestion habits, that's another thing too, right? So just at the end of the day, exposure is very common. Just like a virus when we get sick, right? Really, the expression depends on the body's environment. That's what we want to say. And this is why we're nutritionists, because we want to help everyone change that terrain, change the environment, look at the thoughts, the toxins, and the traumas that potentially interconnect the stress load on the body, which drives inflammation, which creates your signs and symptoms. And by that time, you're frustrated because your signs and symptoms keep exasperating. They're climbing. That is the body saying, I no good. Help me out, right? So nobody wants disease, disorder, and illness. I don't know anyone that puts their hand up for that. So how do we get there? Well, we follow these simple keys of life, right?
And the reason why, like whenever we have a client that runs a GI map or a gut zoomer, so a GI map, we absolutely love them. Gut zoomer is like, I would say GI map on steroids. Like it looks at like an insane amount of markers. So we love both of them. But the GI map is probably the more common of the two. Gut zoomer is a little bit pricier. But when we're looking at either one of those and a client comes in and they're like, oh, like they could have their whole, all of the markers lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like, oh, we have all of the things going on. But if we see a high H. pylori, Cris, what is the very first thing we are working on, no matter what's going on?
Yeah, we're going to look at how resilient the body is because we have the minerals, right? So we're going to see, do we have mineral imbalances that weaken digestive strength? Do we see chronic stress patterns? Do we have sluggish digestion, low stomach acid potentially, right? Because we know that. So we're going to probably work first at lowering the inflammation. And then you better believe we're going into that H. pylori.
Who are we ever? I tell clients.
Yeah, you have to. Like it's...
As soon as I see that H. pylori.
Misinformation. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as soon as I see that H. pylori, I'm like, okay, I know we've been lowering our inflammation because generally the clients come in, they haven't done the stool test yet. So they'll come in, we're working on lowering their inflammation, we're working on their upper digestion, getting all of that in. And then when we get the GI map, we're like, oh, look, very high level H. pylori, just a heads up, we're going to be doing this for 6 months. This isn't like a quick, we're taking the supplement for 2 weeks. So we'll generally start our H. pylori work for, a few months. And then maybe after 3 months of work, we might stack in some additional supplements based on their testing. But H. pylori, we're like, hey, this is a 6-month thing. And an important note that a lot of people don't do is when you have H. pylori, if you have a partner, they need to be on the same regime, usually, because you could be passing that back and forth. So you're doing all of this work to eradicate your H. pylori, but your partner has H. pylori, and every time you're intimate with them, you're just getting the H. pylori back. So we'll always say, hey, just a heads up, your partner may need to consider some things as well.
Good time to say H. pylori lives hardcore in the mouth too.
Yes.
Not just the stomach. And the misinformation online is go and just kill it immediately. Mm-hmm. That mindset, like, let's get it out. Like, that's fear-driven approach, right? Yeah. So eradication alone doesn't fix that terrain. We have to look at, again, our environment. Who else are we with and around, right? But without rebuilding digestion, this is what we're working on. Calming inflammation, rebuilding digestion, because we're trying to say, hey, we don't want you to come back. Mm-hmm. And we have to do it through other imbalances first, right?
Absolutely.
So we really encourage discernment. Not all protocols fit everybody. And the foundation matters more than the quick fixes. So to understand what the drivers are, to understand potential, a supplement list that, you can take to a medical professional and say, hey, does this align with what I'm doing? Again, setting up the body, making sure that you're in a good space to do it. Because sometimes it's just not fun.
It's not. It's not. And like we should say any type of eradication, if it's like H. pylori, candida, staph, strep, whatever it may be, you might feel kind of crappy for a little bit.
Yeah. And it's to know when and how, right? Because we call this self-healing. Because again, I believe the body can really do a lot. Self-healing begins when the body feels supported, not attacked. And that's the biggest thing. And sometimes that's why when people say, oh, I got put on a liver, I'm like, I swear I think I'm like all kosher, but my face probably screws right up and I stop breathing because I'm like, you did what? Because now they've done that, but they're with me. So I know something didn't jive, right? 100%. So, I mean, there's different, you said there's different tests.
Yeah. So we talked about how do I know if I have H. pylori? So you can go and do the urea breath test. That's one of the most commonly ones done with your medical doctor. Simple. It's usually done in clinic. You can also actually order them through practitioners if your doctor won't ask for one. We really love running a functional stool test like the GI map or gut zoomer that we talked about, because it's not only testing for H. pylori and showing you the levels of H. pylori, but it's also testing for virulence factors. Virulence factors can mean, because there's some strains of H. pylori that can be more aggressive. And so we want to be looking at what are the virulence factors to be seeing how aggressive is the H. pylori that you have.
Yes, because you can do antibiotics too, fair?
Yeah, so we'll talk about treatments next. And how we can be going through
No,
that.
I'm just saying you could do that, but why we want this factor, the virulence factor, is because you may be, or sorry, not you, but your little inhibitant like that lives in you, that H. pylori, could be resistant to certain strains. And that's why we want to know potentially, hey, because I will tell you, one of the number one recommended ones is very common for resistance.
Yeah, and so on something like a GI map or gut tumors, it's going to be looking at, are you resistant to any specific type of antibiotics because that are used to treat H. pylori? Because if you are, what's the point in using those? So you also want to be seeing if there's any resistance hanging out. This is why functional testing can really give you a much clearer picture versus just doing like a urea breath test saying, oh, you're positive for H. pylori.
Exactly. Super important, right? So the other thing is because not all H. pylori is the same, and now we've learned that they're strange, right? I know I call it the VACA. No, it's not supposed to say it. It's VACA.
You're going VACA.
I just like to make my own words up. I'm like, oh, the VACA, right? But knowing your strain really changes how aggressively we need to address it. So sometimes potentially you can talk to your practitioners. We might not need to We might not need to get in with antibiotics, or you might not need to get in antibiotics. We might be able to just to help you switch the terrain even before antibiotics. There's a lot of factors that really to look at if you're going to navigate this, because, some people say, should I just go take an antibiotic? Yeah, those people tend to be exhausted at that point.
The thing with H. pylori as well that we should touch on, Cris, is those that have H. pylori, and this isn't to scare anybody, but this is just like a known fact, is you're at a much higher risk for stomach cancer if you don't, higher risk for stomach cancer and ulcers.
Did you honestly just say, don't mean to scare anybody, but
you busted out the
cancer first?
You just go to Google and type it in. It's like a known thing.
You have to nurture this in. I think you should have led with the other one first.
Okay, well, let's try it again.
Okay.
Those that have H. pylori are at much higher risk for developing ulcers or stomach cancer. This isn't to say you will get it. This is just say studies have shown you're at a higher risk. So that's why when we see it, we're like, let's deal with this now.
Soft launch, Katie. Yeah, I like.
Sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to scare everybody like that. But
so tell me what the conventional routes are, because people are going to ask.
Well, like some people will go to the doctor and they will get a scope done, right? They'll do an endoscopy and they'll go in and they'll take a look around. They'll see if there's any active ulcers. Maybe they'll do a biopsy of like a small piece of the stomach lining just to like test for any of that. So that's they will look at that. But if you, let's say the doctor's like, yep, you have H. pylori, your option here is you're going to go to the doctor and they're probably going to do either 1 or 2 antibiotics and a PPI, which is a proton pump inhibitor. So the theory is that, stomach acid is causing, like high stomach acid is causing reactions, when in fact, It's often low stomach acid because, as we talked about, H. pylori, what does it do? It likes to deplete and neutralize all of your stomach acids. So putting a PPI in there is just going to be making things worse. I actually had such high levels of H. pylori. I ended up, this was probably back in 2018 maybe, a long time ago. I did the antibiotics. I didn't do the PPI. I did the antibiotics and it didn't eradicate it. Didn't do anything.
21 days. And then how did you feel after?
Well, horrendous. Because
okay, well, you're on it. 1 or 2 weeks, probably okay. But then that third week, what happened with your lower intestinal bubbly?
Oh yeah, those. If you've ever been on antibiotics, you know the bubbly that you get from those things. So it not only did they not work, but it impacted my gut microbiome further. So I went and took matters into my own hands and fixed it.
Yeah. And I mean, this makes sense for aggressive strains, right?
Yeah,
if we're working with active ulcers, not to toot my own horn, but toot.
Let's see. I know what story you want to tell. It's a good toot.
I have two toots.
Well, we actually have a lot of toots, but share yours because I know what you want to tell.
Only because of this topic, right? The two toots here are, one, I have worked with ulcers.
Yeah.
And it is not quick.
Not quick.
So you need to have patience.
Please and thank you.
H. pylori is patience alone. Ulcers, double patience. And it's not my toot, really. This person followed every single recommendation, had to refoster what they were doing. So they really get the gold star. However, there are 3 ulcers, not 1, 3, gone. Right? And then we have to go after the H. pylori.
Is this the client who had H. pylori for 10 years?
Nope, that's my
next
other
toot. Sorry.
Yeah. So there was a client who had H. pylori for 10 years. Never in her life was she able to get rid of it. 6 months H. pylori, full therapeutics in targeted. And don't get me wrong, like she had done the things, right? I didn't need to spend any time with lowering anything because she came as a pro. She was just like, I just want it to go away. I can't get rid of it. 6 months. Her very first negative test in a decade. Again, not on me, on her ability to follow the supplement regime, follow the lifestyle, follow the stacks, follow and commit to herself. So it can be done. So when people say, can it be done? Yes, 100%. And that person had it a decade. Yeah, that person probably had it since childhood. So let's not get deterred here with the amount of time, right? But they chose to go the natural support route. They chose that I said, hey, this is educational. Make sure you discern this information, take it to your medical practitioners. They're like, okay, this is never going to happen. And, when that client went back and showed her and had the negative test, the doctor should have been celebrating because had this doctor. And it was just like, oh, are you kidding me?
Oh.
And the other thing is once that work is done, so we've calmed the inflammation enough to get in. We've built some lifestyle factors, rebuilt some minerals. We've gone in and said, okay, you're good. Let's go. Let's try and eradicate. After that, then it's rebuilding. Whether you take the antibiotic and the PPIs or whatever, they're still rebuilding.
Yeah, you got to rebuild your gut now.
Yeah. So retesting, restoring stomach acid, reseeding the good bacteria, repairing the gut lining. Skipping this is why so many people feel briefly better and then whoosh, slide right back. And that the whole fact of this is what I see commonality amongst everybody is, I can eat anything now because I don't feel the pain. Oh, look at me go. No, I'm
going to go and eat everything.
No, you can't. You remember, you're rebuilding. Your body's still sensitive, so.
Yeah, it's like you just broke your arm, you healed, you got the cast off, but what do you got to do now? You got to do your physio exercises.
Yeah, exactly. Which I don't have patience for, so I appreciate why other people don't have patience for this stuff.
I don't think anybody has patience anymore. I blame the society that we live in because everybody wants things done instantly.
Yeah? Do we know anyone?
Are you trying to say I want things done instantly?
I don't know. I was smiling. It's kind of funny. I'm glad you picked up the subtlety.
Cris, I know. You want things done yesterday. But I think this is the one thing I really want people to understand is because I've seen this time and time again with clients when they come in and they are operating on warp speed. And you have to, it's like how they live their life, right? It's like, I'm always doing this, I'm jumping to that, and I have to scroll this, and then I'm going to go here and that. And they're approaching their health in the same way, and they're doing it on warp speed, and they're already thinking 5 steps ahead. They're like, well, no, I need to add in this test. I need to get another test. I need to add in more supplements. And why isn't this working quick enough? Should we add more supplements in? And we're like, whoa, like, let's calm down. And they're like, well, we're only working with 3 supplements. I need to add more. And they're constantly needing to add, and do things. They never give themselves the time, the patience, and the consistency with what's in front of them. And that's why they stay stuck. This is probably one of the biggest things I've seen. And I have a few clients that are coming to like mind right away where I'm like, oh, yeah, that was definitely what they did. And they're always trying to add that next thing on. And I've had clients where I give them their protocol. And then like a few weeks goes by and they're like, oh, well, that supplement. I'm like, I didn't recommend that one. Where did that come from? They're like, oh, well, I actually added these 3 supplements in. I saw it on TikTok. That's usually how the conversation goes.
Or I talked to my holistic friend, or it doesn't matter. Just keep whoever you're working with, please keep them in the loop. It's not about judgment. What you're not able to do is 1, know the knowledge between both practitioners. Do both practitioners have full case file? Not only that, it's why not get the practitioners working together, right? Like if that's what you want to do. But at the end of the day it's not about more because you don't know one supplement can actually be altering another supplement. And I've seen this many, many times. And I've caught it where I'm like, okay, listen, if you want to take that, these 2 have to come out.
Yes.
Right? And they're like, oh, that's great. If I add this, then these 2 come out and I'm only taking 1. Okay, this is working on this singular source and this is working on the magnitude of the terrain. So there is rhyme and reason. So just, I appreciate that. I mean, Katie and I are no different. Sometimes we're just like, we just want it done now, right? It's honor, like give your body some autonomy. See what it needs, ask it, love it, and patience. Listen, when patience was given out at the train station, I'll tell you, I didn't have a ticket, I didn't get on.
My patience is something I need to actively work on.
I forgot, right? And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, ooh, now I'm even finding out, and this is what I mean, like my kids get in trouble. I used to punish instantly. I had it. Now I sit and idle and they think everything's fine. And I'm like, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting it out because I realize now I'm reactionary. And then I'm like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to chill it out. I'm going to let the whole environment chill out. And then I'm going to have a calm conversation. So if that takes me 72 hours, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to be clear ahead of time. And I'm going to say, hey, by the way, this is not done. I'm going to entertain it. I'll be to you by the end of the week. But just know there will be a conversation around this, right? That's fair. That's setting expectations. Why are we not talking to ourselves like this? You see a protocol come in. Hey, this is 8 weeks. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to get the support I need. When I get heightened, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see if there's some connections, and then I'm going to hold. We don't do well with hold. And didn't we say this is going to be the year of transparency?
Didn't
you want it? Here we go.
Here you go. You want it? Like, I truly want to make health as humanly accessible as possible.
And
because
simple.
I think, and simple. I don't want it to be gatekept. I want it to be simple. I want it to be accessible. I want it to be cost effective. Because for too long, people haven't been able to get the help they need because they can't afford it.
True.
All right, mic drop. That's it. That's all we got for you today, everybody. We will see you next week on another episode here of Keep It Clear.